a little bit. I have them pull out their cell phones, and I try to remember to have them grab their phones when they're getting there so it doesn't interrupt the show as much for everybody to get their phones. And so what I do is I tell them, okay, we're going to use our phones tonight during the party. So if your phone's not dead and you have it with you, pull it out. And so I tell them 3 things. So the first thing that I have them do is I tell them, I've been doing Pampered Chef a long time. I want to be your Pampered Chef lady for life. So anytime you need anything, whether it's a product question, hey, can this go in the dishwasher? Or, hey, I need a quick wedding gift or birthday gift for this weekend, let me know, because I keep things on hand so I can meet up with you and get those to you. So I tell them about that. So I have them add me in their phone as Pampered Chef Lady or Pampered Chef Cammie. And so I give them a second to do that. And a lot of people will, if you give them your phone number and everything. And then just let them know anytime you need anything, let me know, even if it's a quick dinner idea. So, and then second thing I tell them is I'm really big into the freezer workshops. And so that is one of the big components of my sales every month are my freezer workshops. I do like a mega freezer workshop at my church. Every single month there's one. I've been doing it for the last 3 years. And that's a good chunk of sales because I typically have anywhere from like 1,000 to 2,000 in orders from the freezer workshop itself, because I'll have anywhere from like 10 to 20 people at these workshops, and then to go orders as well. So people that can't come, they know I can ship it right to them. Then I email them their steps and the grocery list and everything like that. So I send them an email with all of that. So that's a big chunk of my sales every month. So I really want to promote it at my parties. I also promote it on my virtuals as well for the freezer workshops. And even though I have a note on there that says, even though you might not be local to Baton Rouge, you can still do these to go if you are interested. So I always want to talk those up at my parties. So I always read the menu to them, tell them a little bit about it, and I encourage them to join my Facebook group, which is, it's called Cammie's Freezer Meals and Secret Recipe Club. So I have them join that, and I tell them there's sales on there, there's recipes, there's my menus coming up. So it's kind of like my business group. It just has that name. So I tell them about that, and so that's the second thing I cover with their phones. And then the third thing is the express party checkout. And I tell them, guys, you are in for a good thing tonight because Pampered Chef has this brand new checkout system. And so Pampered Chef's always about making the guest experience better and more improved. And they were doing surveys and they realized that people had a great time at parties, but they weren't necessarily wanting to hang out forever to wait in line to order. And, and I always tell them at the shows, now some of you may want to hang out tonight and that's fine. You don't have to leave, but some of you may want to get home. And so tonight we're actually going to be able to order on our phones. So I walk them through that. I used to have the little laminated sign. I'd write the code on there. That's totally fine. It works very well. I just bring a dry erase marker in my apron with me to the shows. And I just write the code on there, and you can find the code in your app under the show setup, or you can find it on Consultant's Corner under the show setup. And so I tell them, this is really, really a neat program. If you have your phones with you today, I would love for you to try it out because Pampered Chef's looking for feedback, and they've actually won 2 technology awards for this program. And so they would love to hear your feedback. Customers have been loving it. Saves you time, and you don't have to wait in line. It's kind of like your Disneyland Fast Pass or Disney World Fast Pass. And so just speed you right through checkout. And so I encourage them during the show that anytime that you like something tonight, write it on or type it into your phone. And I give them some of the item numbers, but I also tell them if there's something you like the ceramic egg cooker, and I don't give you an item number for it, just type in the word egg and it's going to pop up several options. Just click on the right one, add it to your list, and I'm actually going to give a prize for whoever has the longest list at the end of the party tonight. So that's kind of what I use for my virtual wish list. And I let them know at the end of the party before we actually go order, I let them know, before you start deleting things out of your list, make sure to take a screenshot of it so you have ideas to give people for Christmas. Or let's say you choose to host a party tonight. Now you already have a bunch of things picked out that you want to get for free at your party. So I kind of use it that way. And it's been really fun, and people have been loving that. And I've actually been getting home probably about 20 minutes earlier now from all of my shows, which is great because I do about 3 shows a week. And so if I can save that, that's an hour of time that I'm not, an hour less a week. And time is money, right? The longer that you're at the party, the less you're making. So I love that Pampered Chef's making it convenient for us this time. Now, I also tell people too, if you do not have your phone, that's totally fine. I still have paper order forms. We can still take your order tonight, so don't worry. But I do have a lot of people use the Express Party checkout, especially presenting it in the beginning of the show and kind of using it throughout that. And I find that when people start pulling out their phones, their neighbors do too. So it's kind of like a community thing. They see everybody else doing it. If somebody's there that has been at a party of mine, last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever, I tell them, oh yeah, and you use this, and how did you like it? And so then they say, oh yeah, it's really, really cool. So I just tell them it's more secure. You guys type in your own credit card number. You can have it shipped right to you. I've also been finding more people, if you're not on direct ship now, a lot of people are shipping it to themselves for the $2 more. I tell them, if you don't see our host very often, just select ship to me and have it sent right to you for $2 more. So a lot of people have been liking that, making it easier on our hosts as well. So any questions about Express Party checkout or things that you guys have liked about it?
No, going back to the direct ship, because not everybody's on that.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're not on it, you can still use it because, like you said, it's $2 more anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So even if you're not on that, still offer that and just pretend like you're on it because it's still the same. It's still the same price, and it's pretty amazing. I love the fact that I can say to my host now, even it's gotten it even easier. You don't have to hassle with a week of boxes in your living room if you decide to go through them. They appreciate that.
The last 2 shows I did, I've had trouble controlling and making them use it. So I use your fast pass line, and one thing that I did that I think was Brandy's idea, I just printed out several copies. I think I had 10 last night. There were maybe 25 people at the party, and I just started passing out these green sheets that told them what to do. And I gave it to a couple persons, like, take one and pass it. Not everyone will get one. And then just like it worked really well the last 2 nights. The papers would go around and they'd like grab their phone and do it while I was doing my introduction. And yeah, I've had more participation since I started doing that. I used to put it just in one place, and they're like, oh, I don't want to mess with that. But handing them a piece of paper with a how-to seems to help, and I'll be using that until I get it, as a better habit for myself, getting them to use it. That helps.
That is a great idea. Did you have them do that like as soon as they got there before you were starting?
I was passing them out as I was doing introductions. So, I think it might work even better if I had them kind of laying around or whatnot. One night I had laid them on the table, and I don't know. It's like when you're a teacher and you start passing out a handout, people are so I don't know. It works well 2 times, and I'm sure with these tips and as I do it over time, it'll get even easier. But it is hard to transition to making them use it when you've been doing it one way for so long. So
I like how it's at the front of your show, I think.
Yeah, the front of the show helps us.
Because I was doing it at the end, and I had laminated that sheet that she's talking about and put it in all the folders, so that way I wasn't reprinting it. But I like how it's at the front, and you just go that right along with your cell phone game. So that's
you
good.
can laminate like 10 of them and just write it. Yeah. It takes a minute to write down. Good with that. Yeah, I just did a half sheet because I don't like doing things. Or paper.
Do you find that you're like being a teacher, what she just said, a lot of times if my students are on their Chromebook at school, I know they're not listening to me. So if you do it at the beginning of the party, have you found that people are like, on their phones and not listening to what you're saying? And how do you get around that?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't really found that. Now, occasionally, like, I'll look around and they'll be, like, doing something else. But for the most part, like, especially doing it in the beginning, their attention is with you. And most people are, excited about it. And so most of the time, like, I haven't found any issues with that at all. And that's okay if they're doing something else on their phone. But for the majority of the people, they're paying attention. So.
And I like how you do the wish list game. So that's super cute that you have that. That you did that. I like that. So I probably will be doing that.
And sharing with them, like before you swipe left, and I always, because isn't there like a dating thing that you swipe right, swipe left? I was like, you can swipe left real quick if you don't want something. And then, but before you do that, make sure you screenshot your phone so you have a picture of everything that you want in the future.
Yeah, and I think that it's important too. I let them know just by putting it on your wish list does not mean I'm going to make you buy it tonight. So don't worry that it's going to be automatically charged to you tonight. So you can take off any of this at the end, but we're just going to use it as a wish list. And I really like Katie's idea too. I'm going to steal that. I think I'm going to have the host help me or somebody else help when I'm setting up when people are arriving, having them already log into their phones and do that. So that way, I mean, it takes a couple minutes, you know, I'm not going to lie. It takes a couple minutes to get everybody on there. And I don't wait for everybody. And I'm like, if your neighbor's having trouble and you got it, help them. But I think from the beginning, you know, having that, because what I'll do is if somebody walks in late, I just give the board to the host and I'm like, hey, will you help her get logged in? And so I think from the beginning, I'm going to steal Katie's idea and have that work. And also sometimes I've heard people, one alternative is having one of the younger generation be the little techie expert. And so having that person go around and help people get on if they're having any trouble. So yeah, just some different ideas, but I like the signing in the beginning. I mean, you know, kind of like how we used to, like some people were doing, have people sign into the app so their order was already on there. Kind of same idea with this one, just having people do it on their phones when they arrive to the party. There's no reason they can't do it before then. So yeah, well, good. So I just wanted to kind of cover about that. Next up, how many people in the room do virtual parties? Virtuals, awesome. So I don't know, I'm sure this is something that you guys have trained on a lot, but I just kind of figured since I don't get to come to your trainings very often, that I would just kind of share some of my virtual tips, and just hopefully there's something that maybe you can take away from it. I've started, I was kind of one of the latecomers to virtuals. I was kind of set in my ways, like I'm just going to do my cooking shows. I don't want to have my business completely that relies on cooking shows turn into just only virtual parties, because I like to get out of the house because I have 5 kids that are 7 and under. So I need that sanity break. So I love the cooking shows, but once I learned that like this is something that's not going to necessarily replace cooking shows, that it's just an alternative option, I've increased my sales by probably by 1,500 to 2,000 every month that I've added virtual shows in, because it's just an alternative option for people that can't do the cooking show. So I kind of offer that as well now, the virtual parties, and that way you can fit more into your calendar and be bringing in more every month. So I typically average my virtual parties and sales between 500 and 1,000 a month per party, the party averages. And so a couple of tips that I have for that is I definitely recommend using one of the pre-posting programs. I use Post My Party because you can share the templates, and it's been really great. So even if you only do one virtual a month, it totally pays for itself. You know, it's $10 a month or whatever, the free 2-week trial. I do run the 5-day virtuals. I set them up on a Friday. So yesterday I set up 4 virtuals I have starting Monday, set them up and messaged the host and told her, okay, today I need you to go in and invite 300 people. Now I know it sounds like a ton of people, but this is the reasons why. And I can send you guys the email that I send my host. It has the messages that I send them like right at the top. And so like I private message them that because they're not going to read the email right away. So any information that I want them to know that day, I send it to them in a private message. And this email has different things on it. I ask my host on Monday through Friday, those 5 days, to take one of the pictures that I send them and post it on the event. And then it just gets a lot of really like a lot of great interaction going, because they're going to see the post from their friend, and they're just cute pictures like team salsa or team guacamole, just like things like that. So or one of the cute ones is like, if you had to name your dog the last thing that you ate, what would it be named? So just kind of funny things like that. So that's one thing that I email them on the Friday. It says, on Monday through Friday, I want you to post one of these pictures and tag a few friends on some of the posts from the day. So I've been doing that. So they invite people Friday, and then it basically the pre-party poster over the weekend, and then Monday starts the real party, and then it goes through Friday. I actually have it go through Sunday though, because like this morning I went on my virtuals and I put a note, Janet is only $198 away from her goal. I never shoot them up just 100. I shoot them up usually 200 in sales from wherever they are, instead of just to the next $100 level. So I post that on Saturday, a couple updates, and then tomorrow morning I'll post again. One last chance. She's only $50 away this time, you know. And so I usually find a lot of the sales come in the last couple of days from those posts as well. So that's kind of how I've been working those. I did try The 1 hour, for me, it didn't work. I don't know if I just didn't do it right, but I've been having a lot of success with the 5-day ones. But yeah, I can send you guys the email or send Brandy it and she can forward it out. Just make sure if you do choose to use the email, I got it from a friend, and just make sure to change it up before you actually send it out to your host. Kind of put some of your own pictures in there so she doesn't, get in trouble for that, or, like get put in Facebook jail because everybody's using her images or anything like that. So just kind of make it your own a little bit before you start using it. One thing I've been doing that's been working really well is because, on Facebook, where it's really hard to see the description of the event, sometimes like it doesn't even show up on your phone, like the description. So I'll put the same exact description. I will actually copy it as the pin post. And I put the little graphic of make sure you check here to get all the notifications, to view all. So I'll put that little picture and then like make the description the pin post that has the website link in it, like so they can actually see that part. And then one of the things that's been fun is going live on the last day of the event, just to be on there for a few minutes to see if anybody has any questions or anything. So that's something fun you can do, just going live. It doesn't even have to be the last day. It can be one of the days or whatever. And then I've been including a couple videos. And so one of the videos is in the beginning, and it just kind of talks about like how this virtual party is going to work. It's like a minute long. And I can send you guys that video if you want. And then I've been doing the booking pile-on video. So I recorded a little video. I can send you the resources if you want for that. But they're like the little printed out cards, and it's a little booking pile-on video. Actually, Christina Maniscalco, she does a really awesome one. So if you want to just YouTube her video on booking pile-on, that's where I got the idea from. But Christina Maniscalco, and it's on YouTube. And also I do, or I'm intended to do, I'm stealing Katie's idea for the top 5. I loved her video. So I need to make one of those and put those on there. But just some little videos. I also put my little pineapple wedger and can opener demo on those as well. So I think anytime they can see you and see that you're a real person and interact, it makes it a little bit better. Now, let's see here. We also have a post if you're on the Best Team Ever Pampered Chef page, like your overall team page. All of you guys are essentially can be on it because you're part of our team. So if you're not on it, just request to join the Best Team Ever. Or let Brandy or Katie know they can add you to the team page. And there's always a virtual script on our pin post that Amy on our team, she does a lot of virtuals. She's our virtual expert. So she posts one every single month on our pin post. And so if you want some new ideas, she's had some theme showed ones on there as well. She does a wine, cheese, and chocolate one. She's done some, Raising fajitas ones. And then also a couple things that I've been doing in my virtuals that are really fun is that mix and chop. Have you guys seen that one, that little mix and chop game? It's like Duck Duck Goose, but I post it like on Monday. So it gets really a lot of people interested. And this is one I'll have like 100 comments on easily. And so it just says, type in the word mix. And then whenever I type in the word chop, that's our winner. So basically, like, so many people go back all the time, and it's good because it's drawing people to the event and they're seeing a lot of activity on it. So that's a really fun one. And let's see. And I can share the link to one of my virtuals with Brandy if she wants to forward it out as well. These are all in there. The kitchen disaster, that's one I've implemented lately, is share with us your most recent kitchen disaster. And so there's one that has like a melted cutting board on the picture of the melting cutting board over the burner. So it has like the burner impression, and the husband wrote in Sharpie, "Sorry, honey." And so it's a really cute little picture. So that's a kind of a fun one to do. Share your most, your worst kitchen disaster. Or one that I use also is share your dinner time in a GIF. And so like there's a lot of funny GIFs that come through with that. And also to get bookings on virtuals, I've been doing the gift bag that has the 3 numbers on the outside. And so it'll say, our goal is to get at least 3 bookings off the party for our host. When we do, she gets a bonus prize for getting 3 bookings. And it can be whatever you want. Lately, I've been doing like the ceramic egg cooker, or it can be an extra $25 free at that 3rd party once they've all qualified, whatever you want it to be. And then I ask her to tag friends in that post itself. So they're getting notified of that. And having them reach out to friends as well is important to to book virtuals. A new recruiting, kind of moving into recruiting now, a new recruiting game I've been doing at my parties. You guys may have heard about like the Stealing Hearts, where it's like they ask you questions, you give them the cards, and then you play that little Stealing Hearts game where you read off the numbers, and you have a couple prizes, and they have to take them from each other if they have that card number. So that's an easy one, but one that I've been doing, because my shows tend to run just a little bit longer, but it's not a problem because I want to get all the information in and I still get a lot of bookings. So I kind of figure like, okay, well, I'm getting bookings, I'm getting great sales, so it's not a problem. Mine are a little over an hour, I would say. So one thing that I have been doing at my shows is I still want to get recruiting in. I don't want to just skip over that, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. So I've just been doing the nosy game with 2 minutes, and I'll pull out a gift. It could be a season's best. It could be anything really, a pan scraper. I've been using a lot of those little kitchen towels on the outlet lately. So I'll start off the gift, and I'll say, okay, whoever asks a question about my business, you can be as nosy as you want to be. You're going to get to hold this gift. And at the end of our 2-minute timer, which I'm going to set on my cell phone, whoever's holding the gift gets to keep it. So it's a really fast way and like rapid fire questions. So kind of like the Stealing Hearts game, but then I just tell them, okay, for the last 2 minutes of our show tonight, where you get to be as nosy as you want to be, you can ask me any question about my business, anything that you want to know, not about products or recipes though, and we're going to give away a prize. Any questions about virtual parties or recruiting tips or anything?
I have one question. First of all, everything that you talk about, will you send it, and then I'll create like a little pin post on the Facebook on our team page so that way it's easy to get to.
Yes.
Can we go back to freezer meal workshop for a minute?
Yeah.
Because they've taken some of the spices off and things like that, like where are you getting your menus from now?
Yes, because of some of the seasonings and stuff.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
So I've been going to just the Dinner's Done. I haven't done any of the Pampered Chef ones because they're a little more expensive and they're a little more involved and they get fewer meals. So I've really just been sticking the whole 3 years to the Dinner's Done on Facebook to Jessica Profit's freezer workshops. And she does a really good job about keeping the menus updated and everything. And before I go and like place the order, for it, I'll just verify that everything is still in stock and everything. So yeah, so I've been, and I kind of have like my maybe 10 or 12 menus that I always go back to. So I just kind of verify that nothing's changed on them, but it's still been working really well.
Okay.
Do you just stop the mix and chop game on Monday, or do you let it go all week?
What was that? I can't hear you guys very well.
The mix and chop game, do you just do that on Monday, or do you let it go all week?
I let it go all week because people are like super excited on Monday and there's tons of posts. And then people still keep going. But I usually put the winner like on Wednesday or Thursday.
All right. Anything else?
No? All right, so we'll move on to cooking show tips. And so those of you that do cooking shows, I wanted to kind of share with you as well, just some of my tips, because I do a lot of shows. And I think that with cooking shows, and just anything in general, the more streamlined that you have it, the better. And so like, identify what you do with your host. As soon as they book a party, what are the 5 steps that you do, or however many steps? Once I kind of got a game plan for what I did as soon as somebody booked a party early in my career, it made it so much easier. And then I didn't feel like I was always like leaving things out. So just kind of like writing down a list of what you do as soon as you book a party. So for me, as soon as I book a party, like my show last night, I had 2 parties booked this morning. I'll send them each the little red stamp text. They're save the date. And I told them last night, I told them, okay, so I'm going to make this party really easy for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create like a little red stamp, save the date text. It's a little cute picture. I'm going to text you. It's going to say, hey, you're invited to my soup and slippers party. Reply with your address. Here's the date and time. So I send that to my host. So she has something in the morning to send out, and I tell her, and I'm kind of old fashioned. So I think it's really important for people to get that personal invitation in the mail. Everybody does Facebook for everything these days, and it's not as personal. So any personal touch we can put on this is going to increase the success of your show. So I just tell her that, and I get her to agree. I mean, they're always like, oh, okay. So I just tell them, work on sending this out. Your friends are going to reply with their address. You may need to remind them, but then I'm going to do other mailers, and I'm also going to set up our Facebook event for you after I send out your invitation. So that way you can catch everybody else that wasn't in your phone, so we don't leave anybody out. So I let them know what's going to happen. So I send them that, and I send them an email And I use an Evernote one. I can send Brandy the link to that as well. But it has links inside the Evernote to the host specials and to my address document and everything. And it has her own direct link on there. And then I set up her show at the same time. So those are kind of the things I do right in the beginning. I also have a little postcard that I send them as well, just to remind them of the day that their invitation addresses are due to me for their invitations. So that's what I do in the beginning. I don't send them any recipes or anything until I get that guest list back, because you can talk about recipes all day long and then never get a guest list, and you waste it a lot of time. So that's kind of just my cues. Once I get their guest list and I send out their invitations, I send them the recipe email. Now I do have my recipe emails in a folder. So I do different theme shows. That's another tip, is offering theme shows, and it's just a recipe. That's all it is. So don't get caught up like you have to bring all this stuff. I used to bring more stuff, and it really is it's up to the host. So if she wants to provide Hawaiian luau decorations, that's fine, but I really just keep the recipes. So a couple of my recipes will overlap, and that's totally fine. Like my barbecue chicken sliders, that's a dinners in no time or dinners in a dash, but it's also a Hawaiian luau recipe. So I just have my emails with recipes for your party, Hawaiian luau, and then there's a couple options in there for the main recipes and for the dessert. And so I just have those recipes in my little host recipe folder, so that way I can just forward that email to them. They can pick out their recipes, and it's easy, and I don't have to always be attaching things and trying to figure out what recipes I'm going to do. I'm old school. I keep it simple. I keep the recipes the same. Occasionally I may throw in a different one, but they do have several options on their recipes, and I do offer different theme shows like Soup and Slippers, Taste of Italy, 5 appetizers in 15 minutes around the holidays, Battle of the Sexes, Ritas and Fajitas, just things like that. So that way they're really not going to see the same recipes if they go to multiple parties. But keep it simple. Keep all your tools for those recipes in your kit, so you don't have to repack it and worry oh no, I left that tool at home. Everything that I need is in my kit, and my kit stays in my car. So that's another one of my tips, is don't have to repack your kit every time. I give my host a coupon when she books that party that night. That basically there's 5 coupons on the page. One of them says get $5 free when you wash my dishes. I would much rather get home a lot sooner than have to stand there and wash the dishes. Now, not everyone does them, but that's okay. I don't mind washing them, but a lot of them will do them, and some of them do them without even getting those coupons. So, but then that way I can get home sooner to my family. My kit is washed and in my car, and it stays there instead of having to repack it. I used to bring it home dirty, and it was a lot of work for me. So I just had to figure out a way to work that better. But so that's something that has worked for me, is not having to repack my kit, not having to stress the day of. So literally before a show, I'll just get some catalogs together, and that's really all I need to do. I meant to grab my little page, but I have one of my suggestions is to limit your copies. So don't make a lot of copies for your shows. I have the guest special on the back. So I've ordered these little, they're like plastic page protectors, but they're thicker. So I ordered them on Amazon, and they're $5 for $10. But they're these thick ones, but they're kind of like little stands, but without the stand. And so you can slip a couple pieces of paper in them. So I have my theme show on one side, and I have my all the pictures of the theme shows. On the other side, I have the copy of the guest special for that month, and I just pass it around, and it looks a little more professional than just a page protector going around that gets all ratty and everything. So I'll take a picture and post that on the team page as well. So that's been working well, and just kind of a new change. Let's see, a couple of my other tips are keeping it fun, keeping your games in there, like the left, right, free game, the Got It, Love It game. If you're doing any type of handouts that your host hands out, clothespins or anything for people interacting, you can even do a fun game okay, if you cross your legs and somebody catches you, they get to steal all your clothespins. You can do something like that. Talk about your theme shows a lot. Keep your shows interactive. I do what's called, not necessarily a station style show, but it's a modified station. So I have everybody start in the living room. We do the introductions. I talk about some products in there, pass them around, and then we move into the kitchen around the island or around the table. And I do a couple little demos first. I always demo. I start with the wine openers because people love those. So if the host wants to, she gets a bottle of wine, and I show both of the wine openers with one bottle of wine. I'll just recork it, just push it back in, and then I show the electric one after that. But a lot of people have been loving those wine openers, so I've been doing that, but that's just an optional thing. It's not required. And then I always show the can opener, And then I always do the potato chips and the slicer and the pineapple wedger. And then real quick before we get to the cooking, I'll show them the close and cut with the chicken and slicing it for the chicken group. So in talking about recipes, I always think it's really important, whether at your virtuals or your cooking, to really demo or show off the double burner grill pan and the rock crock. And I tell them these are the two tools that I use in my kitchen during the week that just make dinner time so much easier. So we cut the chicken, we talk about what they can do on their grill pan, how it can be their 10-minute dinner pan, any meat, any vegetable, and they have dinner done. And then, so the main dish is usually using the double burner grill pan and sometimes the rock crock as well. And then the dessert is either using the rock crock or the deep cover baker. So our top sellers are big items that we want to book shows for. And so not everybody's going to just buy those outright. Some people will, but not everybody's going to buy them outright. So one of my tips is never demo the brownie pan, although it's a cool pan, but people will buy that regardless if you show it or not. You want to use that time to show them something that they need to see in action, need to see how cool it is. Some of my favorite dinner desserts or like recipes for desserts are the Rolo cake, which is the 10 minutes in the rock crock. I push the Rolos in and then top it with the caramel and the chocolate syrups. I've been doing a lot of the Snickers brownie one in 7 minutes in the rock crock, which is so yummy, with the fresh whipped cream. And then some of my other recipes for my shows, of course, the heat is on the grill pan, the double burner grill pan. I've been doing a lot of the risotto lately. That's a really good one. A lot of the jerk chicken nachos in the grill pan that you bake in the oven. That's popular. So just some of those, things just to make it, good recipes that show a lot of tools that are tried and true. People like them. They're done before people are having to leave and everything like that. So keep it simple, stick to the same recipe options, maybe give them a few, but keep it easy on yourself. And then the next morning I send them a Big Mac email. So I go into Consultant's Corner, I copy all the emails from the people that had ordered, and then I send them a little thank you email that includes my recipe box on it. And so that way at the show, I tell them everything that I'm talking about tonight, you're going to get recipes for. It's in my recipe box. Save all the things all the products you have, save those recipes for them. And so I blind CC everybody on the email. And then I also put a note at the top that says, thank you so much for coming to Sue's party. In case you forgot to order something or you run into a friend or coworker who said, oh, you went to a Family Chef party, I want to order something, here's the link, and it's open till Wednesday. So that way they can get even more orders that way too. And it has a link to my outlet as well, and it has my freezer workshop attached, so they can look at the recipes. And I always read that off at the shows too when I'm talking about my freezer workshops. I always give them the date and read off the menu of what they'll be making there to kind of get them excited about it. And I tell them, if you want to sign up for that, let me know after the party tonight and get you signed up. All right. Any questions? I think that's all I had to cover. So any questions about any of that?
Lots of good stuff. I love the fact that you said barbecue chicken sliders because that's what you made at my show.
Yes. I'm just old school. Like, I don't change anything up. Like, I know what works and I stick to it.
I usually say that too because I've seen so many consultants come into the business and feel like that they need to change the recipe so much that they get overwhelmed and then they work themselves right out of the business because of it. And I love to hear you say that keep the recipes the same.
Yeah, it's just easier that way. And I'll introduce like a new one every once in a while, but I've always tried it at home first to make sure it's good. So, but yeah, I just keep it the same, keep it easy on yourself. So, and then other people seeing that too, they're like, oh, you don't change your show up. You don't do always have a different show. It's easy, so people that are potential recruit leads and everything.
Yeah, and I will say that that's why I joined, because you did my party, and then we went to Rachel's, and you did the same show, and I'm like, okay, she just did that at my house, I can totally do that. So I think that's key too. And I've had a couple of people sign because of the same thing. They're like, okay, I think you do 3 shows, and you did the same show. So I think that's very important. And I remember whenever I first started, I had an outline, and it was always the same outline, but I kept it beside me just for security. So, do the same show over and over and over again until you're ready to sleep.
Exactly. And there's even some consultants out there that specifically use note cards at their shows, and they will go through their note cards, even though they've done so many shows, but just to show people that you don't have to memorize all this. You can use note cards and it's totally fine. So.
One last thing real quick. Can you share with us kind of how you, with the kids and having such a large team, like a little bit of time management tips. Do you mind doing that real quick?
Yeah, let me think about that. So yeah, I have a lot of kids, and I spend a lot of the day in the car because in Baton Rouge, the school system sucks here. And so you have to literally drive your kids like 30 minutes to school and back. And so it's really crazy. So a lot of people around here spend a lot of time in the car. I know some of you do as well. It's not just as easy as like, oh, let me run them down the street for 10 minutes. No, it's like all the way across town to the other side of Baton Rouge. And so we spend a lot of time in the car. So it's been a challenge because with the twins, like of course I had my time when I could work. Like all my kids were like in a Mother's Day out now, so there was at least some office hours, but now it's really tricky with the twins because I don't have a set time, because if I have to take kids to school in the morning, they're going to nap in the car and they're going to be awake when we get home. So if I don't have to drive them that morning, I pay a friend to drive them a couple times a week so that they can sleep and they can get a 2.5 hour nap in the morning. But if they sleep in the car, that whole morning is shot as far as getting any work done. So that's just some of my tips with that is if you work full time, when I started with Pampered Chef, when I worked full time, I would use that time in the car. On the way home from work, I would be calling customers, following up with hosts, things like that. I would use that time in the car because I didn't want to spend my whole night working. When I got home, I wanted to see my husband. And so I would just use those little pockets of time that I had, and just I'd be really intentional about that and using that time. Or I'd, make some calls on my lunch break or whatever. So just kind of using that time, even if you work full time, designating like one night a week to your business where you get to, lock yourself, even if it's lock yourself in a closet for like an hour and just get some work done. And have somebody else help with the kids. Or once you get the kids to bed, maybe put them to bed a little bit earlier and then get some work done that evening. So even if it means you're missing out on watching your favorite TV show, DVR it or, watch it later. But that business, that time you spend on your business is definitely going to pay you back. But one of my favorite quotes is, the hours of this business are flexible, but not optional. So basically, if you want your business to go anywhere, you got to put a little bit of time into it, but you get to choose when you want to. Now, if you don't work full time and you have kids at home, it's just one of those things. Like Brandy and I used to trade, watching each other's kids just so we could have one morning a week to work, and then the kids had fun, but we each knew that we got some time to work. And so that worked out really well. So find somebody that you can like swap childcare with for one morning a week. Or one of my secrets is I'll go to the YMCA and they give you a 2-hour limit of childcare. So I'll bring the twins there, and I may not necessarily be using that whole time, but I'll work out for 30 minutes. And then for the next 30 minutes, I'll sit there catching up on emails. They're having fun. I'm not leaving the building. There's nothing illegal about that. I'm just sitting there. A lot of people sit there, read the paper. I'm just happen to be working. So using that time and the childcare available, Mother's Day out programs, just using those pockets of time anywhere that you can find. Sometimes I'll even like put the kids in the car. If we're getting ready to leave, I'll put them in the car because I know they're going to fall asleep, and then I'll just sit in my car and do a couple emails or whatever. So whatever really works for you. But then I'm kind of a paper person, so I have to write everything down. I love my daily to-do list, and I like crossing those things off. So Sunday night, I'll sit down, and for my week, I will line up what my week looks like and what my responsibilities are. And if I have some things I need to get done for my business each day, I'll number them. What's the most important? So I make sure, and it kind of keeps me on track that I actually get those things done during that day when I have those small periods of time.
I like that on Sunday, filling out your rest of your week.
And Cammie, do you still do the 5 pieces of paper stapled together?
I used to. So I used to have like my calendar, and then I used to have the 5 pieces of paper stapled together. But now my calendar has the Monday through Friday in there. So it's the same idea, but I just I use the Erin Condren planner. I really like that one, but it just has the Monday through Friday on there. And so I just have like a little bookmark, and I can just take my calendar with me wherever I'm going. And then like I have my to-do list, and I just have it written in there instead.
Great. I like that. Thank you so much. Does anybody else have any questions?
It sounds really stupid, but how do you take care of yourself so that when you do have free time, you're not just completely exhausted?
Can you hear
I
us?
couldn't quite hear that. Can Brandy say the question?
Okay, so she said, how do you take care of yourself? Because whenever you do have that little bit of time, how are you not completely exhausted?
How do you not exhaust it?
Like, how are you not so tired?
Oh.
Yourself.
Yes. That is a challenge, I will tell you. So like sometimes I'll sit down at night and I'll be like, okay, I just need to do this stuff. And then like I am pooped from the day. Like it is such a busy day. You guys know, like it's crazy. You're running. And it feels like the morning was like so far away. It's like, oh my gosh, I've been up for a long time. You know, the day has been so long today. So I think it's just really like giving yourself a goal, like saying, okay, well, if I do this, give yourself a reward. If I make these 5 phone calls, then I get to eat a candy bar or something, or I get to take a bath, or I get to do something. You know, when you complete these things, there was a good friend of mine. She had 3 really young boys, and she was like, okay, I just got to make these phone calls, get some shows on my calendar. So her goal was to get 10 no's in a row, and then she was going to give herself a bath. So, like she got to take a bath by herself and no little boys running around to take care of. And she kept getting yeses, and it was really hard for her to get the no's. And so she got like 7 yeses and 3 no's, and I'm like, you still took your bath, right? Like you made your calls. Like, but it's one of those things, like give yourself a reward so it's more enjoyable to do it, and then like cross the things off as you do them so it's more rewarding. But give yourself a little reward, and it doesn't even have to be like a huge block of time, but just, you know, whatever you need to get done, break it down into manageable steps. And you know, and one thing that I've really learned with the twins is I'm always like, I have to get everything done, I have to cross off that list. It just doesn't happen a lot of days, and I just have to be okay with it's going to move to the next day. I'm going to write it on the next day. It's going to get done today. And I just have to be okay with that piece of it. Like today was a crazy day. We had 2 sick babies. We're at the doctors. Like things totally went for a loop, you know, but it's going to happen, and it's not the end of the world. Life will go on.
So what I hear Cammie saying in all of that is mainly she has decided to do it no matter what. You're not going to give up on it. You're going to keep pressing forward no matter how tired you are, no matter if you don't get to say, yes, I accomplished it all today. It's a mindset. It's a mindset that you have that I'm not willing to, it's just what you said before, it's flexible, not optional. And for her, she believes that with her whole heart. So it's not optional to not do what she determined she needs to do. So she just makes it work, tired or not tired. Is that pretty accurate of your mindset?
Exactly. Yeah. Like this is just something that I love, and it's just something that's not an option for me to, you know, fail at this. Like I have to succeed, and so I'm going to do what it takes. And but it's flexible, so that's what I love about it. It works around your family, it works around your life. It doesn't have to be your main priority. Now this is my full-time job, but I work it in part-time hours, and so that's one of the benefits. If you do this full-time, it can be very part-time hours, but you do have to put the work in. But I mean, this is great. I mean, it's so flexible, and it works around whatever you're looking for. So you can be successful in any means of this.
Yep.
Any other questions? Sorry, we went over on time, Brandy.
It's well worth it.
Did we happen to record it?
Yeah, I'm recording. If you will send me all your fun links, I mean, like everything that you shared with us, so that way I can get it all together and send the this recording to you. But thank you so much.
Yes.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I wanted to put a plug in for the 6-week course. If you're doing the 6-week to Success course, I would love for you to try it out. We have our call tomorrow night. Just make sure to get me your 10 reasons you want to build your business tonight, and listen to that first little audio recording. So there's still time. Have one of your directors send me your email if you want the little assignment to do before tomorrow night. You can join in tomorrow night or Tuesday night because we have such a big group. So we're going to do 2 nights for the first call. But it's once a week, and it's great tips, and it's going to be pretty simple assignments, but it's really going to help grow your business. So I definitely encourage all of you to check it out. Anytime you have any questions, reach out to me. I know, and you guys know that you have some amazing rock stars, Katie, Brandy, Adrian, in the group there. So you've got some amazing rock stars, but also feel free to reach out to me at any point as well. So anything that I can help you with, I'm totally willing to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome.
You're welcome. Have a good rest of your meeting.
Bye. Hey, Adrian, will you go in that black bag in there and bring me my charger?
I will